Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I thought I'd make a quick video on wire strippers and crimpers and some do's and don't do's and some things you should never do. So come on and we'll get started here. Um, okay, what I've got here is two different styles of wire strippers. The N type that simply you'll put the wire in and pull it back and it'll strip it. Those work real good uh, when they don't break. These plastic parts don't seem to live super long. This is a pair that I inherited from my father. You can see it comes down, it grabs the wire, and then it brings in the stripping teeth and it strips it to different sizes. This one is supposed to automatically adjust for whatever thickness wire you put in it. It doesn't always work. Like I say, these typically don't last a long time, but in a tight spot, they can be pretty darn handy, and I like them, and I keep one around. Probably this is my go-to for most automotive wiring jobs. Now, you got crimping tools. These, obviously, a lot of people get these. They come in kits with the connectors. You see them in the auto parts house, Walmart, whatever. These things are good for some things, but they're absolutely horrible as a crimping tool because they want you to crimp it up here in these jaws here. Okay, it number one, it gives a cruddy crimp, and in my 40 some odd years of mechanicking, I've seen an awful lot of crimps that they have used these tools on, and the wires end up being pulled out of them, or it crimped it so flat that it cut the wire, and within time it broke and came out. Like I say, these tools have their place as a maybe as a somewhat of a stripper, but really they work best as cutting off machine screws, and they work fantastic for cutting off machine screws. So I keep these around just for that. My go-to is a good pair of crimping tools, and as you can see, these have I want to call it a tooth and a valley. Okay, and typically the smaller one is used for the red butt connectors, the little red ones like that, and then the bigger tooth is used for the blue or the yellow, and it has that, the way it's designed, it works really well as long as you put the parts you're crimping in it properly. And that's where there again, in my years of experience, I've seen a lot of horrible crimps that come apart because people maybe didn't know. My pop had been messing with electronics since World War II, and was a radar man, and showed me this trick back in the day, way back. And I took this one apart so you can see. I pulled the plastic off, and this is a big one just so you can see better. But most all of these crimp type connectors, the barrel, we'll call this the barrel right here, is not one piece. Okay, it has a seam in it, and where people get in trouble is if you put this into your crimper this way, okay, to where the tooth catches the barrel, right? Maybe only on one side of it, or even in the middle. And it can cause this thing to crimp in such a way that it flares out and it doesn't grab the wire right. So what he showed me, the proper way to put all these in, and of course the butt connectors, the spade connectors, most all of them. I'm just using this one because it's bigger and you can see it better with the camera. But you wanna look, as you're picking one of these rascals up. Let's say it's still got the plastic thing on it. You want to look inside it, or on a case of a spade terminal, the seam is always opposite of this. the spade part. So anyways, when you put it in your crimping tool, you always want that gap or that crack, seam, we'll call it a seam, you want it to be 180 degrees away from the tooth, the crimping tooth. That way when it pulls that dude down, it folds it over like that. Okay? Obviously, this is made to have a pretty good sized wire in it. So if there was a wire in there, it would have probably crimped a little differently. But without a wire, okay, whatever. But anyway, so that's the trick of the day, is to line those things up properly. And like I say, I have some butt connectors here. I don't know if the camera can see them or not, but this one has a seam in it, and this one does not. Now, if it doesn't have, if it is truly a solid tube, no worries. Doesn't matter how you do it. But you'll notice when if you look at them, a lot of the connectors you get will have that seam in them, and it does make a big difference in how good of a crimp you end up getting once you use your tool. The other thing I'd like to talk to you about today is these guys, wire nuts. These are for home electrical. Have no place in an automobile. And probably the most jacked up wiring jobs I've ever seen on old cars is when somebody gets their buddy who's a house electrician guy to come over and help them wire up their old car. And they got the Romex and they got these things all over the place and black tape and wrapped up and whatnot. Never ever let a home electrician help you wire up a 12-volt system in a car, because I don't know, they're great at 120 and 220 and all that good stuff, but for some reason 12 volts throws them for a loop, and some of those guys just just struggle and make a mess of it. So remember, no wire nuts ever, no Romex ever. Get the right parts, the right tools. If you really want to go whole hog, you can solder your joints if you got the time and you got a bunch of heat shrink and all that good stuff. I just wanted to talk about these quick, butt connectors and crimps, because these things are used everywhere. They're super handy. I guess one other tidbit of a something to try to avoid, and I don't even have one here today to show you, but it's an item called a Scotch lock, which is the little blue plastic or red plastic square looking thing with a tooth in it, and you put wires in it and you crimp it you squash the little tooth down with a pair of pliers and snap the top over. Those things are horrible. They'll work in a pinch if you just didn't have anything else, but don't expect that connection to not give you trouble later, because it will. They just make a horrible connection. So like I say, either solder and heat shrink everything, or butt connect, use your butt connectors. And so that's the big tip of the day. And if you like what you see, like and subscribe if you like, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.